Well, thanks. It's a real honor and privilege for me to have a chance to be here again at the Seoul Digital Forum. And I want to thank SBS and all of the conference organizers for this opportunity. I was last here at this conference. I've been to Korea many times since, but I was last at this conference in 2006. And certainly the world has changed a lot. I was talking to Chairman Se Young-yoon. I was talking to SBS Media Holdings Vice Chairman Seok Min-yoon about this today. And in a sense, you could say it feels like a lifetime ago since we had I had this last opportunity. If you think back, words like Twitter and Facebook were unknown even 2006. And here we sit and we talk about the next 3, 4, 5 years of incredible innovation. I want to share with you just a few things that we're excited about. And frankly, I think all of our industry is excited about. I think they fall nicely under the word coexistence, and yet in this industry, in some senses, bringing together disparate things into a united whole often makes the whole much bigger, more exciting and compelling from a product perspective than any of the parts. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'll have a chance to show you some of our showcase product, which is meant to help lead this next generation of exciting innovation. As we reflect at Microsoft on the priorities that guide us in our own R&D. We do about $10 billion a year of R&D. It's a lot of money. Some of it succeeds wildly all at once. Some of it takes longer to build and gestate. We have a lot of brilliant engineers, as we know exist in all the companies in this room and in many other parts of the world, doing creative and innovative work. And yet, we can orient, in some senses, their priorities around 5 key themes, things that I think will be fundamental to the future of this industry. The first one I insist on referring to as machine learning as opposed to big data. Big data refers to the notion that we have so much more information available than ever before. But the truth of the matter is the benefit of data will come from learning. And the most important learning going forward is not just human insight, but the insight that machines processing large amounts of data can give us. This will apply in so many aspects of computing. Just at Microsoft, we think about the evolution of the user interface to phones, to TVs, to PCs. We want the computer to learn about the world, its applications, its data, its content. We want your system to learn about you and your interest and your intent. And we want the system to learn to pull those data together for you effectively as part of serving you every day on your phone, your TV, and your PC. Second area of innovation I want to highlight is in form factors and user interface. We can think with each revolution, first the PC, then graphical interface and the mouse, then mobile and touch. Just as we get excited that maybe that's the last major breakthrough in the design of devices and user interface, something else comes through. And we're excited about what the next 4 or 5 years will bring as speech, as vision recognition and voice recognition, as next generation video display and presence and motion sensors come to the fore. We see the evolution of the PC, the phone, the TV, and the basic way in which we control and manage these systems, the basic ways in which we project data to ourselves continuing to evolve. Number 3 is the cloud. And of course, everybody talks about the cloud. The cloud is the cloud is the cloud is the cloud is the cloud. Yet, I think people are still underestimating the impact of the cloud. The cloud, when people first talked about it, was a place to deliver a couple of traditional applications in a new way. The cloud became a set of technologies that were really all about redoing and revolutionizing the way data center and internet data center computing works. I think the thing where we've only scratched the surface, though, is in the design and development of new applications that could not have existed without the cloud as a large-scale computing resource. You see that a little bit in the discussion of big data applications. You certainly see that in products like Twitter and Facebook. These are new applications that were born of the cloud and could not exist with the cloud. And I think there's at least 10 years of innovation on how to exploit that. Core platforms or ecosystems. The world is clearly, in a sense, becoming less fragmented, not more. The number of core platforms around which software developers will do their innovation is not ever broadening. It's really a quite small and focused number. Windows, various forms of Linux, the Apple ecosystem. Certainly at Microsoft, Windows as a core platform for the cloud, for the server, for the phone, increasingly in applications that you might run on your on other devices. Windows is certainly our core platform. And I think as we look back 3, 4, 5 years from now, there'll be just a few ecosystems that really can get to critical mass and flourish. Last but not least is certainly the emphasis on new scenarios. I think our industry spends a lot more time talking about how to change that which already exists than invent new things. How do we make a faster processor? How do we put more cores into the work? How do we go from resolution A to resolution B? How do we add 3D? And yet the real innovation that will propel the industry forward is changing the way people really live and work. I'll spend time later today talking with a number of educators here in Korea about how really, people will, that's a bad step. I'm going to step back. That's actually a huge deal. How do we really use information technology to change the way people access information and learn? It's threatening. We think about the classroom, and yet the tools that we have today, online collaboration and social networking, tools like Skype that can put you and a set of information face-to-face with anybody on the planet, with new note-taking technologies and tools and new devices, we can re-engineer the way people learn, the way people meet. I'm happy to be here, happy to be here. But I live for the day when we'd all agree that digital technology would be as good as physical technology in having someone like me give this speech. That screen is as good and beautiful as any on the planet. And yet, we sit here and say, well, I'm glad Steve's here. And when I look and I can see your faces and your eyes and some sense of what's really working in my speech, I know digital technologies still have a way to go. I see papers and pencils and books in the audience. And I say, why is that? Why have we not designed the technology that makes all of that and much, much more obsolete? So I think there's a lot of invention that will go into the new scenarios that actually aren't just about the technology and the platforms and the devices, but the new applications which really affect the way we work and the way we live. For us, this is a very, very important year. This is the launch year for Windows 8. What's Windows 8? It's an operating system after Windows 7. I guess that's kind of obvious. And yet, saying it that way, in a sense, almost understates how much change and innovation and reimagination, as we like to say, has gone into Windows 8. We first shipped Microsoft Windows in 1985, so almost 30 years ago, And we improved it, we made it support new hardware, we added new input techniques. This year, there will be 350 million Windows 7 devices shipped in the world. It makes Windows the most popular single system, electronic smart device system on the planet. It's right there, Android, Windows, phones, and PCs. Those are the popular systems. And yet, after all this time, it was clear to us after we shipped Windows 7 that it was time to take a step back and ask, what would it really take to have Windows stay the platform from Microsoft, this key ecosystem, for the next 28 years? We said, hey, look, Windows has to be able to support touch and pen in addition to mouse and keyboard. Now, you could say that's a small thing, but no other system out there today really supports all the inputs. Windows had to be able to support tablets as well as PCs and notebooks. Windows had to be able to support very small devices and very small screens up to very large devices and very large screens. I have a new 81-inch Windows 8 slate, 81-inch Windows 8 slate in my office. It's not very portable, but it's actually quite valuable. We needed to support applications that were functional, that let you do real work, and applications that were beautiful and let you relax and entertain yourself. We needed to support existing applications, and we had to support the generation of a new style of applications. Applications that are modern in their embrace of HTML and JavaScript and internet standards. We had to support people in their personal lives and in their professional lives. We put that all together, and we had a lot of work to do. On top of it, we said, fundamental to this will be supporting not only x86 processors, but also ARM processors. You put all of that together, and it's really, in some senses, the dawning of a rebirth of Microsoft Windows. The Korea Economic Daily has said it will be a game changer. It's certainly the most important piece of work we've done. And there's a new Windows Phone that goes with the new Windows 8. There'll be a new set of devices from our hardware partners that go with Windows 8. There's a new Office and a new Bing and a new Zoom and a new Skype that goes with Windows 8. There's a new server and virtualization system. There's a new cloud infrastructure for Windows Azure, all of which are supported on the back of this Windows 8 reimagination. Now, I talk about it because I know Windows is a Microsoft product, and yet the Windows ecosystem is much bigger than Microsoft. The number of semiconductor companies and system companies and software companies that participate in this ecosystem is quite large. The number of companies who want to know, how do I build the next generation Windows 8 device? How do I get into the Windows 8 store so I have access to these hundreds of millions of new customers who will come into Windows 8? We think that's important, and I thought in the spirit of coexistence was very important for us to have a chance to share here today at this forum. What I'd like to do now is to invite up on stage Brad McCabe from our Windows team, who's going to have a chance to show you a little bit of Windows 8, and then I'll come back and talk a little bit about what I think of as some of the opportunities, particularly here in Korea. Please welcome Brad.
Thank you so much, Steve. So thank you. This is my first trip to Korea, and I'm so happy to be here today to be able to take and show you Windows 8. So let's dive right on in. I'm going to come over here to my Samsung tablet, and you can see as soon as it resumes from sleep, I have a customized and personal lock screen experience. I have a picture here of my daughter. I can see my calendar information, my mail, my email, all right at a glance. And when I'm ready to log in, I swipe my finger up. Now with Windows 8, I can use an alphanumeric password, but I can also use my favorite way, which is picture password. So for me, I connect the faces of my children, and then poke my wife in the nose, and now I'm logged in. This is my start screen. It's personalized to me based on my interest and the things that I find relevant and important. You can see here all the different things that I have, all the tiles. I can scroll through here very fast and very fluid. But you notice that these tiles are not just static icons. These tiles are alive with activity. They're keeping me up to date on what I care about. Now, if I want to customize this, it's very easy for me to grab. I can drag around, position them however I want. I could pinch and zoom out to work with groups. And I'm going to name this group here on the end. Now, this group has a lot of games, so I can just come in here and very easily call this the Games group. Now, apps are very important to Windows 8. Apps are at the heart of Windows 8 because they define your experience. For me, I like to keep track of the stock market to see how things are going. So I've pinned the Bing Finance app here to my start screen. And it gives me a lot of good information, but if I simply touch it, I can dive right in to take a look at the news, how the market's doing, and what's going on out there. Now, you notice this is a very immersive experience. It goes end to end and puts me right in contact with the data and the information. Now, even though this takes up the full screen, the things that I want to do are never more than a finger swipe away. If I swipe my finger in from the side, I can very easily flip through any of the different applications that I have open or that I'm using. And if I take and swipe my finger in from the right side, it's very easy for me to get to other things I might want to do, things like search and share. But for me, I'm just going to go back to the start screen. Now, Windows 8 comes with a lot of great apps right out of the box. Things like mail and calendaring, messaging, video, music, people, and so much more. But if I want to have additional applications, I can go out to the Windows Store, very easy to discover them. Now, in early June, the near final version of Windows 8, the Windows 8 release preview will be available. With the Windows 8 release preview, the Windows Store will expand to a number of new countries, including right here to Korea. For me, when I come in the store to discover those applications, you can see I can see all-star lists, top free, new releases. Everything is categorized for me so that I can quickly get in and discover what I'm interested in. Now, if you're like me, you use a lot of different devices throughout the day. You have a set of devices you use at home, a set of devices you use at work, possibly other devices that you use as you're mobile and you're moving around. And Windows 8 is cloud connected. That means for me that all of my settings, my files, all the information that I care about follows me from device to device. Now, if I take and I look at some of these experiences, I'll come here into SkyDrive. And you can see with SkyDrive, I have documents and pictures and other items that I care about. I can simply touch pictures, look at some of the different albums that I've uploaded here. In fact, when I was walking around yesterday, I took some different pictures from around Seoul. And you can see I can touch and I can go right in and take a look at some of those pictures. And as I move through here, it's important for me to share these files and these images. And that's very easy for me. I can swipe in from the right and simply touch share. And then I could very easily email this off to my friends, my family, or to my wife to share with my children. Now, if you could just indulge me for 1 second, I have my Windows phone here, and it's important for me to make sure my kids understand that, you know what, as I travel around, it's not all just about sightseeing. So if I take my Windows phone here, and I'll just hold this up, if everyone could smile for my kids. All right, thank you. It's a great shot. So I've just taken that picture with my Windows phone, but you also notice that on my phone, I have tiles. And these tiles are live with information, just like they were over here on my Windows 8 devices. So as I'm taking and I'm using my Windows phone, it keeps me connected to the people and the information that I care about, right at my fingertips. But that's a demo for another day. I want to come back here for a moment to Windows 8. And you can see I've got a broad range of devices up here. Windows 8 will run on many, many different types of devices. We looked at my tablet, and now I want to take a look and talk about my device here. This is a Dell Xps 13. It ships today. You can see it's very thin, it's very lightweight, and got a great battery life. And it ships today with Windows 7. Now, I've taken and upgraded mine already to the Windows 8 Consumer Preview. And you can see I've got my start screen here. Since Windows is cloud connected, my settings, my data follow me as I move around. Now, I upgraded mine. It ships with Windows 7. I've upgraded mine to Windows 8. All that apps and everything pre-installed just work. My Windows 7 apps work on Windows 8. And you can see this is an existing device. It doesn't have touch. And very easily, I can move around through my start screen. I can bring up search and share, the start menu. I can quickly flip through different running applications that I have. I can come down. I can even get a list of all the other applications that I have running. Now, I want to dive right in because also in Windows 8, you can see I have access to my desktop. Windows 8 has everything that I love about Windows 7, plus more. You can see I've got a lot of files here, but I also have a folder for SkyDrive, which we talked about earlier. I can actually come here into SkyDrive and open it just like a file folder. And you'll see I can come in here, look at the SkyDrive camera roll, and you actually see the photo that we just took a few moments ago from my Windows phone of the audience. Because my Windows phone is cloud connected and my Windows 8 devices are cloud connected, you can see how everything stays with me and travels with me no matter where I am. Now, this was a very quick glance that we took at Windows 8. There's so much more in there. But I hope what you've seen is that Windows 8 is a no-compromise operating system. What does that mean to me? It means that I have the portability and the versatility of the tablet, but the power and the productivity of my laptop. As Steve said, it means I can use touch and pen along with mouse and keyboard. Now, there's a lot more to discover and love about Windows 8, and I encourage you to go out, download the consumer preview, and try it for yourself. Thank you so much for your time. Now back to you, Steve. Thanks, sir.
We thought we'd just take a minute and kind of wet your whistle, as we say, just give you just a little bit to think about with Windows 8. It's the deepest, broadest, most impactful release of Windows we've ever done. We have hardware partners who will do incredible new tablets and notebooks and slates and wall-sized devices, phones, and many others, running processors from Qualcomm and NVIDIA, from TI, from Intel, and from AMD, and I think it'll be absolutely amazing. I think there's also then never been a better time to be not only working with Windows, but there's never been a better time to be in this industry. We see a lot of activity here in Korea. In the last 3 years, we've been involved with over 600 startup companies here in Korea, and we've worked contributing over $60 million of software to help those businesses get off the ground. And we think it's that kind of innovation and creativity applied against the big opportunities, machine learning, form factors, Windows 8, new scenarios that'll really power this industry. With something like 400 to 500 million users expected in the next year, the best economic activity for people building machines and the best economic opportunity for people writing applications will be around Windows. And as we've said, from small to medium to large to portable, it's a phenomenal, phenomenal opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to participate again at this Seoul Digital Forum. I think we have a few minutes for some questions, which I will look forward to. I want to thank everybody again for your time today, and I particularly want to thank SBS again for this opportunity. It's my pleasure.
네, 스티브 발머 씨 감사합니다. 그 윈도우즈 8이 인터페이스가 아주 인상적인데요. 뭐 핵심적인 기능은 아닙니다만은 처음에 로그인할 때 아이들 얼굴 터치하고 아내 코를 찔러가지고 로그인하는 게 굉장히 인상적이었습니다. 자, 새로운 디지털 경험과 그 경험의 영향력과 그 기회에 대해서 생각해보는 좋은 시간이었던 것 같습니다. 지금부터 스티브 발머 씨를 모시고 질의응답 시간을 갖겠습니다. 원활한 진행을 위해서 저희가 사전에 몇 분 질문을 하실 분을 선정을 했습니다. 먼저 서울대 지구환경과학부의 이상묵 교수님이 첫 번째 질문을 해주시겠습니다. 해주시죠.
Thank you very much. I'm here.
Gotcha. There you go, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your impressive talk. My name is Sang-Muk Lee. I'm a professor at Seoul National University here in Korea. I became quadriplegic as a result of car accident 6 years ago, 2006. And although I cannot, I'm paralyzed neck down and cannot even move my finger. I'm able to do everything I used to do as a professor, research and education, thanks to the computer. Because I can log onto the computer and I'm very free in the cyberspace, that has allowed me a lot of opportunities, things that I couldn't imagine would be doing, you know. And for instance, I use Microsoft speech recognition software since Windows Vista daily. And I can say for sure that, to me, computer is God's gift to people with disability. Having said that, but in the last several years, there has been even a greater revolution with the coming of cloud computing, mobile computing, smartphone. New doors of opportunity have not only opened to people with normal people, but really to people with disabilities. And I think Korea would be a very good testing ground because we are very well connected and many people are susceptible to new ideas and willing to try new things. So my question is, would Microsoft be willing to work with Korean government, researchers, industry to develop these new technologies for coexistence, social inclusion in the future?
Great. Well, thanks very much for your remarks, and certainly pushing Windows innovation so that through our own work and the work of partners, there are innovative solutions that really assist and enable people with disabilities to participate fully in the world is very important to us. It's actually an area that we've done some pioneering work already and will push harder based upon your encouragement here in Korea. we opened the first Microsoft Accessibility Lab outside the United States here in Korea in conjunction with the Korea National Information Society Agency. And your encouragement will certainly, I certainly hear and will provide a positive word with our team, because the opportunities to do even better through voice and vision and natural language and machine learning, particularly with folks with disabilities, I think is quite high. And you can count on our continued enthusiasm about working in the area. And certainly I'm inspired by your story, and we'll work hard on your and other folks' behalf.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
네, 고맙습니다. 두 번째 질문은 이강석 스카이레이크 인큐베스트 부사장님께서 해주시겠습니다. 어디 계신가요?
여기 있습니다.
네.
미래를 조망하는 좋은 말씀 주셔서 감사합니다. 저는 스카이레이크 인큐베스트라고 하는 투자 회사의 이강석 부사장입니다. 지금 우리들이 들고 다니는 핸드헬드 스마트 디바이스를 보면 크기가 3인치, 5인치, 7인치, 9인치, 10인치 매우 다양합니다. 근데 마이크로소프트가 오퍼레이팅 시스템 프로바이더로서 이들이 사용하는 CPU, 디스플레이, 커뮤니케이션, I/O 이런 다 파워 버짓을 관리하고 나눠주고 조율하실 텐데, 마이크로소프트 입장에서 볼 때 어느 사이즈가 좀 줄고 어느 사이즈가 더 늘어날는지, 또 마이크로소프트가 보시는 The Ultimate Form Factor가 과연 있으신지 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
Well, the word ultimate is a big word. Ultimate 10 years from now may be different than ultimate in the short run. But let's really talk about the fact that what people want is a level of choice. There are times and places where people want a device that fits in their pocket. Some people are happy with a very small device that fits in their pocket, like my wife. Some people with big thumbs, like me, and bad eyes, we'd like big screen, but still fits in the pocket. We want to support that diversity. You know, in general, I think when you're trying to get real work done, you need a little bit bigger screen in order to be productive. But when you're just trying to sit and read or relax, something lighter may well fit in. I think one of the issues is what fits into consumers' budgets. Sometimes we forget that not all consumers can buy 2, 3, 4, 5 different electronic devices for every member of family. So there will be a set of trade-offs. But if you go farther enough down the road in time, I think we will actually see the sort of design of these systems, the architectures change, and we'll get a more clean separation between the screen, the input techniques, the logic, and the memory, where you may get a lot of flexibility and yet still think about it as one core computing device. Why doesn't my phone have a screen that folds out, or some other way to give me a screen that looks bigger than the screen that's on the device? We can scratch our heads, and yet we know those technologies are in development here in Korea and in a number of other countries around the world. So the evolution in the technology will change the answer to the word ultimate. In the near term, I think that there will be a level of choice that's important to a number of consumers.
네, 고맙습니다. 더 좋은 질문 또 말씀 답변 들어야 되는데 방송 사정상 여기서 좀 줄여야 되겠습니다. 지금까지 좋은 말씀과 답변해 주신 스티브 발머 CEO에게 다시 한번 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.